Hey Murphy's Law Garage viewers, have you ever wondered if this guy would work on a Mustang? More specifically, a new Mustang? Have you ever heard of it? Let's check it out. Dang it. So, what is in front of me? What I have here is the Banks iDash Super Gauge. This is not the Data Monster, though they are the same, with the only difference being that the Data Monster has more processing power and can save data logs of all inputs it can read. It wasn't quite in the budget, but what this tells you is whether or not the gauge is able to do what you need to do. And I've got good news for you. I've already pulled this out of the box and plugged it into the car, and it works, which is super exciting. So let me show you what I've got here. I've got the Banks iDash Super Gauge. I've got the starter kit slash harness for the 4-channel analog input device, as well as a temperature sensor that reads 0 to 300 degrees. And I've got an adapter here, 3/4 to 1/8 NPT, and a gauge pod. Now you might be asking, what is the rest of this? Well, one of the cool things the iDash Super Gauge can do, other than just plugging into your OBD port and give you a whole bunch of inputs, and that's right, even the 2024 guys with an S650, this will interpret PCM data at a 4-scan level, it appears, and can see everything. It's crazy. But what this also can do is receive input from analog devices and show me other accessories, in this case a temperature probe, so that I can see the intercooler, the supercharger intercooler coolant temps, which is super important because I'm about to put my interchiller on the car. Everything's all boxed up and ready to go, so I want to see just how cold that water gets. But first, let's install this gauge and I'll give you an idea of what this looks and feels like. So before I go play with things in the car, let me give you basically a laid out exploded view of how this works outside of the car. You have the OBD2 cable that plugs into the sensor, the port under your dash. That plugs into the iDash right here. And then right here you also see I've got my the starter harness that connects to the analog 4-channel adapter. That also plugs into the iDash. You see that cable comes along to the 4-channel module, and then that 4-channel module has some spaghetti coming off of it to receive 4 channels of sensor input. Here's channel A. You can see here that I've got attached to the pigtail that is on my temperature sensor that will then go into this little adapter block here that's in my coolant line for the supercharger so that I can sense temperature. All right, so now I'm going to bench test this, if you will. I've got the OBD2 plugged in, I've got the gauge sitting in my lap, and the spaghetti sitting here for the analog inputs. Let's fire up. Let the Whipple S650 come alive. Check out our Banks iGauge. And all right, so you can see here, all right, sorry about that. The car took over on CarPlay. You can see here I've got the Banks module, the iDash up and running, and we've got lots of good data I've already configured in it so that I can see things like the outside ambient temperature, which are going to replace that with the coolant temperature here soon, the supercharger coolant temperature. We've got the mass airflow air temperature, so that's at 120 degrees. The car was running earlier, so it's hot as heck. This is the supercharger air temperature, so this is read as by the speed density sensor beyond the cooling. Got density altitude calculation, you have vacuum boost, and we have the manifold absolute density. This one's super important because this is actually what tells you how well the supercharger is doing when it comes to cooling, right? So the cooler the air charge, as boost goes in, the more density you're going to have inside of the manifold. So this is a very important one, and of course I've got AFR. So next thing we're going to go in is and configure the bank module. So I'm going to go ahead and select our 4-channel. All right, you can see here, it can see channel 1B and C1D, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go ahead and go here. and I'm going to configure this sensor and then I'll bring you right back. Alright, so after some configuration here, you can see I have this one right here, the CAC-WC. That's the charge air cooler water coolant temperature. You can see it's showing at 85 degrees. The way I did that was to scan for bank modules here. Bank modules, 4-channel analog. You can see that I have channel 1A, cold air, charge air. And then you're going to set up the sensor type. So I go in here and I put the type as temperature. I'll put the specific sensor I have, which is fluid temp 1/8 NPT. I don't need an offset because I can check. What happens here is you can check with a sensor that you trust or a gauge that you trust, and you can set an offset. And then I change the map parameter to show charge air, cooler water temperature. So once you have all of that configured, I can go into gauge layout and we can change gauge selection, change all kinds of different things that show here. But you can see what I've got configured, and one of them was my charge air temperature. So the coolant temperature. So let me back out of here and show you this again. You can see here, let me set that down. I'm gonna grab the sensor here and see if I can warm it up. You can see the sensor reacting to my warm hand. In fact, if I stick it in the air conditioning over here, we should see this drop pretty darn quick. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this mounted in the gauge pod and then get some wires ran in and out of the engine bay. All of this spaghetti right here. I'm not gonna go into grave detail of how to get these wires connected where you need them to be, but I'm gonna bring you back and show you where I've got them so you could repeat it if you want to. All right, before I button all this up, I want to show you how I've got this wired. I have the Banks iDash inside of a glow shift universal enclosure here. I haven't tightened it down yet so I can set my angle. That is double-sided taped to the dash. In the future, the dash actually, if this was right here in the dash, it kind of fits perfectly between these two screens, but there isn't much space. I popped the plastic off here. There isn't much space behind this. This is for you base model guys, of course. The premium guys, you'll need to put it over there, but I prefer for racing to have this more in my line of sight over here. I may actually make a little mounting block that goes right here so that I can mount the gauge between these two screens. But the cables leave that pod and they tuck behind the screen here, come down, enter the dash, and then go under right there. The wires, I can show you a little better right here. The wires are basically invisible as they tuck behind the dash. I'm gonna clean those up a little bit. And if you're just doing the gauge, then you're just plugging into the OBD port down below. But if you're doing a 4-channel analog with sensors like I am, you need to come through the firewall. Ford really thought this through. You can see right there that little plug that I've got that wire passing through on the firewall is super easily accessible in the footwell. You pull it in from the inside the cab and it pops right out. I made an undersized hole in it and squeezed that harness through. I've got the Banks 4-channel analog input device, the CAN bus device here attached to my brake line area. I've got my extra sensor wires tucked up in the corner here for whenever I add. I'm going to do a flex fuel sensor, a custom one. I'm going to show you how to do that with the Banks in a later video. I've got the wire following the brake lines here tucked away. It's actually clipped into the brake line harness coming all the way around. I've got a little looming and some fabric tape here, eventually landing on my cool side hose here for the heat exchanger, right? So anyone else doing this, this is the cold side. On both sides is the back, the hot is the front. And I've got the glow shift manifold here that allows me to put my sensor in, and that sensor is tied into the iDash. So let me get all of this buttoned back up again. I'm gonna get the car fired up and we're gonna go for a drive and look at the data. All right, let's fire the setup for the first time. Sorry again with the CarPlay interfering. All right, you can see the IAT1, which is the mass airflow sensor, showing 97 degrees. That's heat soaked, as well as the IAT2, which is after the intercooler inside of the supercharger. It's 120. Currently, the liquid temperature inside of the heat exchanger is 99 degrees. Looks like it's dropping. The car is running right now. So I'm gonna get driving around here a bit, and I'll show you what those temperatures look like while we're moving. All right, I've driven to Mexico, and I'm basically trying to normalize the temperatures of the car. It takes a minute to drive to Mexico, as you can imagine. Done a couple of hits, looking at the data. Super cool stuff, and it's super fast. Just for giggles, before I flip you around and let you see some numbers on a pool, listen to the supercharger. This car's so nasty. Yeah, let me flip you around so that you can watch a pool. I'm on street tires, and it was spinning whenever I hit it. Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. Murphy's Law Garage. All right, so quick rolling hit in Mexico for y'all. Woo! Spin, daddy, spin. Nasty. Got a little squirrely back there. I'm on the street tires right now, and this is 93 if anyone's curious. Look at how awesome that data is. We're at 1890 DA, almost 1900. You can see the temperatures. We're at 120-ish degrees on the other side of the cooler inside the supercharger. That's your MCTs, if you will. And the liquid temperature is 99 degrees. The temperature as read by the MAF is 91, so that's a pretty good delta for an air-to-air cooler, so good job, Whipple. Alright, here I am just putt-putting around, get an idea of the data that I'm seeing as I'm driving. And of course this is like infinitely modifiable, adjustable, customizable, so you can set your gauge up to look the way you like to. I like a lot of data, so this is what I have here, but I could also, you can do like multiple pages of different things in data in case you would like to see a different view from time to time and just flip between them. All right, well, there's the Banks iDash for you. It's super cool that this works for Mustangs. I had no idea that the Ford OBD2 protocol for like the F-150s and stuff the newer ones would work with the iDash. And to be fair, neither did Banks. I called Banks and asked, no idea. And I'm like, so hey, if it doesn't work, can I return it? Absolutely, yeah. And I was like, deal, sign me up. So if you're looking to do this, you can get the iDash Super Gauge for pretty cheap. I mean, especially considering how many gauges in one it basically is. And then if you're a big fan of data logging all of that data at one time, it'd been nice to have that, but the price jump was just too much for me, considering I can just plug in my Tomahawk tool from Whipple and data log if I needed to. But you can do that too, and you can stick an SD card in it and data log all of that data if you'd like to. Like I said, next steps for me, I'm going to order a GM Continental style ethanol sensor, work on getting all of the fittings I need, and show y'all how to set up an ethanol sensor and attach it to the Banks iDash so that you too can sense how much ethanol is in your tank, because I tend to run E30. And I want to know whether or not I've actually got E30 in the car and bump my percentage up until it's right, especially for track use, trying to get those lowest numbers possible. Anyways, thanks for following along. Pick yourself up a Banks iDash for your Mustang if you want to see some data all in one place. And as usual, we love you. God bless. Peace.